welcome to another episode of Hope Series. My name is Oluwatomisin, and I'm glad to have you once again. And in case you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please kindly do so. Go to YouTube and subscribe. Hope Series with Oluwatomisin. On this show, what do we do? Just in case you're just watching for the first time, this is a platform to encourage, to inspire individuals out there, bringing different personalities, using their experiences to tell everyone out there that you can be whatever you want to be, no matter the discouragements, no matter the disappointments that you have experienced in life. And that using their story to tell you that if they can actually overcome what they've gone through, you can also. So you don't have any excuse, you don't have any reason to give up on your dreams. So on today's episode, I have with me like an amazing lady. I met her 7 years ago, and this lady, she's so amazing that by the time we go into her story, we know what is actually amazing about her. So quickly, let me read her biography. Her name is Oluwatomisin Adeyefa. Purpose-driven, passionate, and dedicated broadcast journalist, sound engineer, public speaker, gender and disability rights advocate. She hails from Ile-Ife in Osun State, a graduate of mass communication from Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, Ogun State. Oluwatomisin is a virtually impaired person who got blind after a series of unsuccessful surgeries in 2009, after which she picked up herself with the help of those around her as she rises above the disabilities. Also, a lover of volunteerism, she is a member of several non-governmental organizations where she contributes to the growth and development of persons with disabilities, especially women and girls, including networks of women and girls with disabilities. Angel Wings Global Freedom Foundation, Nigerian Association of the Blind, Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, among others. Oluwatomisin Adeyefa is among others a fellow of Jaja Africa, a project-enabled Africa, supported fellow of the Inclusive Friends Association. She is a UNFPA certified manager of gender-based violence in emergency. She has also participated in several on and offline trainings to enhance her career and humanitarian paths. Wow, this is so amazing. So let's welcome Oluwatomisin Adeyefa. Oluwatomisin. Good. Okay, should I say good morning or good afternoon?
All the good now, good.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Like, you're looking beautiful.
Thank you very much.
So quickly, let's just let me start from your biography. You said you got blind due to series of unsuccessful surgeries. That means you were not born blind. So can you please take us a bit to the back, like let the audience know what happened that led to this?
Okay, thank you very much. Hi everyone. Hi every listener out there. I'm so happy to be here and to share my experience as part of effort to give hope to everyone listening at this time. So I'm Oluwatomisin Adeyefa, like it's rightly said there, and I'm from Osun State in Ile-Ife. I lost my father when I was a year and 3 months, and despite that fact, my mom, my maternal grandparents, they all did what they could, to make sure that vacuum left by my father wasn't felt by me so deeply. And, I went to school, I played, I engaged in activities just like every normal child until after my secondary school education. And before then, I had what you call short-sightedness. So I was using glasses. That's the recommended glasses to see, but unfortunately the vision deteriorated, and we were told at the hospital that I had to do surgeries in order to correct the eye defect, which we did. Even before then, we've been spending money going up and down. Government hospitals. At a point, we were told that in Nigeria, the surgeries, the government hospitals do not have the necessary equipment to carry out the kind of surgery I was to do back then. That was retina detachment. So we were referred to another private hospital. By and large, we went for the surgery, and it wasn't a small money, if you ask me. And in 2009 February, the last of the surgery, which I agreed to because I eventually told them I wasn't interested in any more because I've done about 3 surgeries and it's not looking like a solution is, in view. And I just felt, because it comes with a lot of trauma, a lot of emotions, a lot of spending, a lot of, scare within me, my family, and everybody. So I felt I'm tired. I'm done doing surgeries. And that was how the consultant right there and then said, okay, now that you cannot see and you've agreed not to do any more surgeries, we shall recommend you to a school where you can get rehabilitated as a blind person. And since 2009 February till now, I've been a visually impaired person. Going forward, I went for the rehabilitation at the Nigerian Craft Center for the Blind. It was formerly in Ikeja, just right there in the Air Force Base before, but right now I think they're now at their permanent site at Ile-Ife. It's a federal government institution for rehabilitation of blind persons in Nigeria. That's just one, the only one here by the federal government. So I was fortunate to get a slot into that school, even though the process of getting a slot into that school is another another story. So that was when that was where I learned how to use the typewriter. I learned how to read and write Braille. Braille is a form of writing technique, reading technique for blind persons all over the world. So I learned how to use that. I learned mobility, how to walk around with the help of a white skin, how to, be independent as a blind person. Moving forward from there, let me also add that right at that institution, I learned how to also produce home care products, soaps, bar soaps, detergents, insecticides, all of those things, which I still do, even though I've stopped doing it for commercial purpose, but I do it for my personal use. And I still train churches, schools, youth organizations that are interested in training people in that regard. So after I left there, I had to sit for another senior WAEC because, the WAEC result I was holding before I got blind. I got it as a science student. And
Sorry, please. Like, what was your life before you got blind? So you can link.
Okay, like I said, I played like every other child. I went to school like every other child. And I was a bright kid. In fact, in my secondary school, right from my senior secondary school 1 up to my senior secondary school 3, I graduated. Like I pulled through as the head girl of my school right from that moment, So I was a really bright child. In fact, my mom never spent money to buy me English and mathematics textbooks because she knows that at the end of a session when we are graduating, I would always receive that as prizes. So I went to school.
So
I had friends.
What class were you in?
I was out of secondary school already. I was preparing to go into the university. So the eye incident happened. I couldn't see clearly, and as a science student, you need, if not a complete vision, because sometimes people like to say that, especially people in the medical line, that you always see them with glasses. But at least you need a level of vision to be able to practice medicine, which was my dream actually back then. And then, now that I am blind, I couldn't do sciences anymore because you need a level of vision to be able to work in the laboratory, to be able to work on anybody. in an hospital, at a clinic, so I had to think about it that, okay, what was I going to do? Fine, I could be in the arts department and make something meaningful of being in that department. It wasn't easy initially because my mom was like, no, she wasn't getting it why I couldn't do sciences, but I understood and I felt okay. So I had to sit for my GCE. I did that twice because I'm coming from a science background. It wasn't easy for me to just jump ship into an art department and just make A's like that. It wasn't easy. So I did it twice. And on the second time, I had my results, that would enable me get admission into an higher institution. So I sat for another JAM. And this time around, the JAM got me into Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, where I studied mass communication, OAD, and higher national diploma.
Wow. Okay, what an inspiring story. Okay, was there a moment that you were really sad? Like, I know you are a strong person, because the truth is you were not born blind and it's not really easy. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to, how did it happen? Like, you were able to go back to school, and how did it happen?
Okay, so someone that when there is a problem, I really do not spend time on the problem. Even till now, I try as much as possible. Yeah, like you said, there will be times where I felt really sad. Like, I felt really sad. It just happened to me. It wasn't looking like a solution was in sight. And then, I was looking at my future ahead of me and it was looking all bleak. It wasn't looking clear. It was looking like, would I be redundant for the rest of my life? Would I be kept indoors for the rest of my life? Would I be dependent? Because I know I had siblings that were looking up to me. And I was imagining in my head that, okay, all my dreams, aspirations, goals, everything I set for myself is suddenly, going down the drain. And trust me, it was a trying period. But because, I had a family, most especially my mom and my maternal grandparents, that really took interest in me, that loved me unconditionally. I just sat down with my mom one day and I said, well, Mommy, I wanted to go back to school. And my mom looked at me and, she told me later that she just shook her head that you don't even know what you're talking about. Which school do you want to go? How do you want to read? How do you want to do things? Unfortunately, back then, I had to go spend time with my grandfather in Ile-Ife. That's a town in Osun State. And there was a secondary school in that vicinity, Yewa College, that admits special students, visually impaired students, blind students. And, a friend of my dad, my late dad, happens to be a teacher in that school. So my grandpa reached out to him and said, the daughter to your late friend is now a visually impaired person. How do you want to help? And so he came around and said, okay, I could go back to SS1 and start my education from there. And that would enable me know the basics of learning how to read and write as a blind person, further reorientate myself as a blind person. And trust me, that was very depressing for me because I was already out of secondary school. I can't imagine myself with my height, even without being a secondary school student. My height and then, the kind of life I had lived, going back to start from SS1, being in the class with people that are quite younger than I am and people that would likely, tease me. And, at that point I was no amount of, teasing you do to me will go down well with me because I'm in a very bad mood. I'm in a very bad state. It's just not going to work. So I told him, my parents agreed on my behalf. They didn't consult me for that. They felt it was the right thing to do. So when they told me I had other plans, the Monday I was to resume in SS1, I hid under a staircase. Like they were looking for me in the house, and I said, so after the man left angrily, what's wrong with this girl? Where's she? Wow, where's she be? So I came out and I told my mom, you will not work. Why would you say I should go and start SS1? Who does that? Like, you want me to go apart from my age, I mean, I'm past that class already. You can imagine the kind of embarrassment I would, be going through, finding myself in the midst of such a gathering. So the man came back and said, okay, if I was given the opportunity to learn how to read and write, to rehabilitate myself for a period of 1 year, would I take it and make the best use of it? And I was like, okay, 1 year. In fact, all I needed was 3 months because my mind was made up. I knew that I wanted to go back to school, and I knew that I have to do something extra, you understand, to really get what I wanted. So my mind was made up. I was prepared. I said, in fact, if you give me 3 months, I will learn whatever it is there to learn. And that was how the journey into the Nigerian Pancreas Center for the Blind started. It wasn't easy, trust me. There were days where you face discrimination, stigmatization. In fact, there were days when maybe I have 1,000 naira notes, 1,000 naira notes, and maybe I pay for Okada or the bus, and they collect my money. Maybe they're supposed to give me 800 naira change, for instance. They may end up giving me 500 naira change. In my mind, I would assume that maybe one of the notes is 500 naira, another is 200 naira, another is 100 naira. So it is when I get home and I'm beginning to show people that I've discovered that, okay, one of the notes is 200 naira, another one is 200 naira, another one is 100 naira. So there were days like that. There were days when people would, literally take advantage of my disability and then do things to me that would cause me some kind of emotional breakdown. But I've learned to live above those things, really. And right now I can say that it's been long I cried.
Okay, so one of the things I got from you is that you had choices. Like you could have just been a parasite, to someone. You could have probably wait at the roadside and be begging, but you chose to just do something for yourself. And I just want you to, tell those listening, tell every one of us, what was the inspiration, as in what kept you, what was the thing that, every one of us, we have something that, this is the reason why I am doing this. So what was the reason behind, you keep going, keep moving, and you didn't give up on yourself?
My very first motivation is God. Like, He's just been there, even when every other person seems absent. Another inspiration I have that keeps me on the move is my mom. Like, I do not want to disappoint her. She's been through a lot because of me. So when I remember her, like, the thing just strikes me and I'm like, you don't have a choice. You just have to keep going. This woman must not be put to shame. In Nigeria, where we come from here, in Africa, where we come from, a woman whose husband just died maybe barely 2 years after their marriage and has a baby. You can imagine the kind of shame, the stigma, the trouble she's been put through. As a matter of fact, my mom does not know where my father is buried. Wow. That's how much, she went through, because her husband, who happens to be like a well-to-do man in the midst of so many in the family, died, and then, family issues, inheritance, and all of that came up. So she's one person that when I remember, when I hear her voice, when I see her, keeps me going. Another thing that keeps me going, while I was at the Polytechnic, I stumbled on the story of this Sosoliso plane crash survivor, Kechi Ofechi. Yeah. And at that time, she had over 100 surgeries, and she was still standing. Yeah. And that story stuck with me, that if she could do it, I haven't gone through 100 surgeries and still standing. In fact, she's still, at that point in time, she was still preparing to do more. And I'm like, Tomisin, you don't have an excuse, and also people who are around me, people who look up to me. I have siblings. I have a female sibling who looks up to me as an elder sister that I would not want to disappoint. At the same time, I don't want to disappoint myself. I want to make meaning out of my life. I want to be able to impact people. I want to, in my old age, look back at how I've lived my life, those that have impacted, those that have crossed their paths, those are inspired and be able to say, wow, Tomisin, you lived, not just lived, but you lived well. So all of this put together form my inspiration.
Thank you so much. Like, I don't know if I want to cry, but I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to hold myself.
Please don't.
Okay. Ah, my God. Okay, so me say, your story seriously is so inspiring, and you have told me some of your story, the part of your story, not just today, several hand. It's always inspired me to, to keep doing what I want to do. Even personally, it's always inspired me, because I believe if you are like this and I have everything, like I have my own high, I can, walk without anybody. It's a blessing, and if I've gotten that opportunity, I must be able to, make use of it, because you are making use of you are making use of yours. Despite of your condition, you are doing better, you are doing great. So I want us to talk about you now and what you do. Okay. I from your profile, I discovered you work with, which organization do you work with, please?
Well, I work with an online radio.
Okay, so as a broadcaster?
Yes,
okay.
As a voiceover artist, a presenter, producer of programs in both Yoruba and English languages.
Okay, here in Ibadan, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like I believe you should have a personal thing, and a personal project that you work on, looking at the way outspoken you are and everything. So I believe you have something you're working on. So
recently, I learned the art of sound engineering, audio editing, music production. I felt okay. I had a little free time, so I felt okay. What could I gain again to this free time that I've got? And I learned that. So I do that personally on the side. Also, I'm a gender and disability rights advocate, and recently I got inducted into Ford Foundation supported Inclusive Friends Association.
Wow.
Where we are to amplify our voices, sensitize the public, tell the public, and disabuse the notion of discrimination, stigmatization against persons with disability. Our major focus is on disability-based violence, where we touch on the psychological and emotional forms of violence, socioeconomic forms of violence against persons with disability. So, at Inclusive Friends Association, we are saying that no person with disability deserves to, be violated on the basis because of their disability. So when you body shame a person with disability, when you name call a person with disability, in this part of the world, we have so many derogatory names we use on our persons with disabilities. So when you do those things, you have a way of contributing to their emotional breakdown. You have a way of contributing to their psychological trauma. You have a way of adding to the burden, because it is bad that you're a person with disability. Now, the way the society treats you, the way your family treats you, those around you treat you, is worse if they treat you badly, and then you begin to feel bad. Besides that, I've had testimonies of persons with disabilities on this campaign who have thought of committing suicide because of the way they are being treated, So we are, making rounds. I've been going around, talking about this in schools, also sensitizing persons with disabilities themselves to identify these forms of violation, because sometimes people violate you and you don't know, because you feel that's the normal thing to do, that's the normal way to react to you. So we are saying that you need to identify it, you need to put a stop to it, and we need to all come together and build an inclusive society. And it's easier because I'm also a person with disability. I have first-hand experiences of these things. Let me give you an instance. When I was seeking admission into the Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, a staff of the institution right there and then told me that I should go to where they accept my kind. So the house I lived, before I got to Abeokuta, I paid for the rent. I paid for a standard room, only for me to get there, and the landlord, having seen me as a person with disability, decided to give me a pen-like apartment
You know, that was like a shed where his wife was selling charcoal before she stopped the business. And he felt, when there's no longer empty rooms in the main building, so just manage here. When there's, and I paid. So that's the form of, you know, discrimination, stigmatization, violence we go through as persons with disabilities every time. And we're saying that men, women, you know, we need to begin to see persons with disabilities as human beings that they are, and treat them with so much love, respect, and dignity.
What an amazing project. Well done.
Thank you.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Wherever you're watching it from, listening to Tomisin Adeyefa, her story is such an inspiring one, and I just want to know that no matter what you are going through or whatever you are going through, the time will surely pass. The darkness will pass. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in God. This moment is not going to be forever, and it will definitely pass. So, and what you need to do this period, this trial moment, is, you know, to look at yourself and tell yourself that these challenges will go. You believe in God that it will go, and you keep working to be a better version of yourself. Look at her, as if she just decided to, you know, okay, things have happened. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to be this. After all, your mom will do everything to make sure you are
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
But would she really be happy? And you know, now she's a source of blessing to someone. She's a source of inspiration to someone. And right now, you know, bringing her to this show is also a blessing to someone listening. Yes, I believe it's also a blessing. So she will not be here today. So you have to think of it. You have to think of, you know, beyond now. You have to think of the future. You know, do you want to just, you know, keep staying in that condition and keep, you know, blaming people for your condition? In fact, you could have blamed the doctor.
Of course.
You could have blamed him that he caused it.
But I blamed myself at a point, because I felt if I didn't complain that my eye was deteriorating, I wouldn't have been taken to the hospital and we wouldn't have had the surgery. So perhaps I should have just kept managing and not say anything about the eye.
So we you know, when things happen to us or when we are going through life challenges, we definitely have someone that we can blame for whatever we are passing through. We definitely have somebody we can, you know, point a finger at. But the truth is, you know, that is not the solution. We need to, you know, just like you said to me, say that, you know, you don't, you know, stay long on an issue, on a problem. Just, you know, quickly.
Let's see how we can work around it. What's the solution? How do we move forward?
That is just the key. That is just what every one of us, you know, what we can do when something happens, whatever we are going through. We should just, you know, look for a way to just, okay, this is it. It has happened. And the only thing you and I can do is to look for a permanent solution, something that, you know, something that can make us, you know, to be better than all we have. So, Tomisin, I just want you to quickly, you know, advise everyone how they, looking at what you have passed through, your story, your experiences, and I know you have a lot of things you just, you know, because of our time and everything, you just, you know, do short things. But I just want you to, you know, inspire someone how they, you know, just give an advice that you can give to your own sister out there, please.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I would say that whatever you do, think of the future. Think of your own future. Think of how you want to come out of that problem. Think of how you want to contribute your own quota to humanity. It is very important. When you live for posterity. It is very important. And let things inspire you. You do not have an excuse to give up. The truth is, they say when a man stops learning, he starts to die. When you begin to give up, you start to die, for me. So keep pushing. Yeah, I know Nigeria is so hard right now. I know the country is so hard. It's so hard to do anything meaningful. But keep pushing. Keep at it. One day you definitely get celebrated for that particular thing you do.
Well, keep at it. Keep moving. You don't give up on yourself. You don't give up on God. In fact, you don't give up on Nigeria.
Nigeria is going to be great again.
That's the truth. If we give up on Nigeria, we'll not be doing this.
Yes.
We don't give up.
We don't have
Nigeria.
anywhere else to go. For instance, there is nowhere I will go to that you will not know I'm in Nigeria. Because I mean, I look it, I sound it, so it's just like that.
And this is our country. So you don't give up, because once giving up is a mindset, and once you begin to give up, it affects actually everything.
And please avoid saying that I'm tired, fed up. Whatever you pronounce sometimes have a way of influencing you. So be positive. Think it in your mind and profess it. Talk about it positively. It will surely get positive.
Yes. Think it in your mind. Let me say the way she said it. Think it in your mind, and whatever you think, we think positive things. We don't think negative things. Whatever you think will definitely, come to reality. Just in case you are just watching again, I am Olufunke Folorunso, and this is a series with Olufunke. So please keep watching, and remember always never to give up on your dream. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.